My name's Kevin Pittman. I'm a park ranger with the Park Service, or State Park Service. I'm also a first-person reenactor for the Park Service, and I'm also a historic weapons safety supervisor for the park. This is one of my outlying parks. I've been dealing with Olustee, with the Park Service for almost 10 years now. Personally, I've been coming to Olustee and everything since I was a teenager, coming to the battle reenactments and everything. So, statistically, Olustee was the third bloodiest battle of the Civil War. If you look at it in numbers, it was evenly matched on both sides, 2,500, 2,500. By the end of the 4-hour pitched battle that went on, it was close to about 70% casualty rates. So if you look at it in numbers to Antietam and stuff like that, we kind of go back and forth with them as we find more of our dead and more records of them and everything, and they do the same thing. It kind of goes back and forth. So this battle is unique in the fact that, one, it was the only major Civil War battle to take place in the state of Florida. It was late in the war. It was in 1864, and it would actually happen here by accident. This was not where the battle was supposed to take place. It was not where it was supposed to develop. A mile down the road is the town of Olustee, or Olustee Station. They actually had built breastworks there and built a fire sack in between what they called Ocean Pond, which, like I said, is about a mile down the road, and Impassable Bay, which is a swamp over on the left-hand side of the road. And there was only one natural defile that they could go through, and that's where they built the breastworks. And they were waiting for the Union there. They were going to ambush them and hit them there. Cavalry skirmishers went out basically to give a rabbit a chase, to get them to see if they could draw them in. When they got here, they ran into just one company on line, and they decided, hey, if it's only one company, we'll go ahead and take them. They sent word back, they sent up another company. Well, by the time that company come up online, another company come out of the woods, and they were actually coming down through this area here. There was an old stagecoach road, and we'll see the remnants of it. It runs through the battlefield, Olustee Road, and then railroad tracks. And they were coming down the side of the railroad bed there. They were coming out of Sanderson. They'd been up in at Barber's Plantation and were making a march down. They don't know if it was by design or by accident, the way that they lined up for battle, but the Seymour actually had put in the third company a set of horse-drawn artillery, which had never been done before. So by the time the second company come up online and they went sent for reinforcements, the artillery come up into play. And Langston's gun and batteries were back up in here. They were actually captured by the Confederacy.
Right over in here. Yeah.
And by the end of the battle, they had gone back and forth, and the Union finally was like, look, we gotta pull out. We gotta go. The only two fresh units that come up on the field or last in line were the 8th U.S. Colored Troops and the 54th Massachusetts. So they were actually told to fight a rear vanguard action against the Confederate forces that were still on the field, while the Union forces left and retreated and took their wounded with them, which that area through here was one of the hardest fought and contested areas with the U.S. Colored Troops and the 54th Massachusetts. At that time, they ended up 3 of the Alabama regiments that were here and 2 of the Georgia regiments threw everything they had into them, and they stopped everything they had cold and held off until all Union troops were off the field. When they actually left, they took all their wounded they could with them. They loaded them on a rail car that was nearby. As they were going back to Sanderson with it, the train broke down. And they were afraid that if their troops were captured, they were going to be killed, because that's what they were told. You know, a proclamation had been made that they would be executed no matter what, and so were their officers. So they actually hooked chains, ropes, and horses to that locomotive and pulled 3 rail cars in the locomotive from here all the way past Sanderson.
Wow.
By foot. Now this is after fighting all day.
Oh, wow.
Marching, to keep their troops from falling into enemy hands. Local legend is that all the black troops that were left here were executed on sight. It wasn't. A lot of them were captured and they were sent to Andersonville up in South Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, there were accounts of some of them being executed and shot and stuff like that, but most of the commanders, when they found out about it, they put a halt to it because it would just, they weren't going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, there were some that were killed, by troops on the field and everything like that, with times being the way they were. But most of them, like I said, once they were well enough to travel, they sent them on up to Andersonville prison.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was, as far as we know, there were 2 hospitals around here,
Mm-hmm.
field hospitals. There was one down by the horse corral that's down here now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get in there in a little while and look at it. And
Okay.
then there was another one that was back down here on the other side of the battlefield, and that was for the colored troops, and they were
Okay.
treated down there.
Okay.
And so that's pretty much what the Battle of Olustee. Like I said, you got to think from the starting of that railroad track running all the way this direction for a mile in more of a racetrack, oblong racetrack, was the battlefield itself. So this entire area we're standing on was battlefield.
Okay.
Yeah, most people when they come here, they want to know where's the battlefield at. They think the little 2 acres that are down there that's cleared, they had everything or so, is the battlefield. It's not. It was an actual piece of farmland that wasn't being used. It was a fallow field, and that's where most of the battle developed because it lent to the fact of how they trained with their manual of arms and stuff. But what you see now with the terrain and topography and everything like that, that was pretty much what it was like in 1864 with the palmettos, a little bit higher reeds and thrushes and stuff like that, and bottle brush. Because it was February, and February in Florida can be either freezing cold or it can be burning up hot.
Yep.
But so we'll go down here and we'll talk some more down on the field.
Okay.
And I'll show you guys around. But,
all right. Thank you.
Like I said, most people when they get here, they're like, they want to know where the field is, and I'm like, you're standing on it.
Okay.
This entire area is the battlefield.
That's
itself.
probably why we got activity out here when we came here before.
Yes.
And we were just right out in this area here.
And we've had a lot of, depending on how close it is to the battle reenactment and stuff, sometimes our reenactment does end up on the dates of the battle, and things do get kind of real dicey around here for a couple of weeks afterwards. Sometimes, for a week or so afterwards, we'll have strange occurrences and phenomenons going on after the battle or before the battle.
Okay.
So it is, and still is, haunted.
Okay.
So.
Awesome. That's why we're here.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
A fallow farm field. There was actually some homesteaders, and the rooms for their cabin and everything was right up here. I don't think they were here when the engagement took place. I think they had evacuated, but their home was here. Okay. But the field, the way you see it now, the way it is cleared and everything, was the way it was cleared in 1864.
Okay.
And this would be an area where they would have had a lot of fighting going on because of the fact that this lent to their manual of arms and how they done.
Okay.
One of the unique things about it is the 7th New Hampshire would have been about right here, and I think the 28th Georgia was over here. What I say unique about it is the 7th New Hampshire was actually one of the few federal units that was outfitted with Henry repeating rifles. They had trained on Henry repeating rifles, tactics with it, and everything else. Problem was when they got out here in Jacksonville, they got their Henrys taken away from them. They were reissued out to the cavalry. They were given weapons that didn't have firing locks in them, didn't have half the working pieces for it, nor had they been trained on how to actually use a Springfield musket.
Wow.
And everything, and they were marched into battle, and it was basically OJT time. When they got here, they were like the 3rd or 4th unit to come online. Their commander got the orders. They came all the way down from where we're up by the railroad track. They came all the way down the front of battle, trying to get online, to be turned around and sent back up the line again to the far extreme left. Once they got there, they were told to turn around and come back again.
Oh, wow.
And they made another run back down to try to come up on line down here. And by that 3rd time, they had already suffered about 50% of their casualty. Most of their officers were dead and everything else. And they fell in on line and tried to fight, and then ended up having to pull back off the field because they were combat ineffective.
Right.
The 28th Georgia was here, and about 2 hours into the battle, they started running low on ammunition. The Confederacy did. Like I said, they didn't bring a whole lot of their supply trains because it was all back a mile down the road. And they thought it'd be a quick battle, and it wasn't. They actually started running to the point that they were down to one round per man. They were in the center of the line, and instead of pulling off line and weakening the center of the Confederacy, they actually went through the motion of firing and loading, and they weren't firing anything, and stood there taking a full brunt of the force from the Union troops. By the time they figured out, the Union did, that they were out of ammunition or low, and they were weak, and they started to make a push across, ammunition made it up to them, and they were able to actually start returning fire again back into the Union troops, and pushed and repulsed out the center of their line. And that ultimately was part of why they started retreating and moving off the field.
Okay.
But you just stop and think about the veracity of, men.
Yeah.
They'll run 3 or 4 times up down the front of the line of battle, getting shot at with weapons, half of them not even working, and everything, just to get a chance to fight. Have men over here whose belief keeps them online when they're out of ammunition, taking round after round and not having anything to return fire, but not wanting to weaken the center or let their comrades down. They stayed. And it just kind of goes to the mentality of the time, the situation, and what was going on. And so, yeah, there was a lot of heavy fighting through this area.
Wow. Thank you for sharing all that with us. Wow. So a lot of it happened right here then?
Yes, ma'am. The hospital that we were telling you about, that we just recently uncovered, and everything is back off the edge of the field there. Was what they were saying was the colored hospital. That's where a lot of the colored troops had been treated. The USCT and the 54th, when they were taken off the field, they would have been treated there. And then, like I said, back up here by the horse corral, we think there was another, that was the Confederate field hospital or area up through there. And we'll go back up that direction. The horse corral was not here during the battle. That was built afterwards and stuff, when they would run cows through here, and that was a loading area for them. But like I said, here's the battlefield.
Are there bodies buried out here, or do you know? There is?
Yes, we still find pieces of bodies, body parts and stuff out here. We still find ordnance. We still find pieces of equipment, rifles, muskets, stuff like that. It's not unusual to find any of that. In 2015, we had a wildfire out here, and that was part of the briefing from the federal smoke jumpers that were here assisting us with it and everything, was that we had unexploded ordnance everywhere. So we needed to be careful what we were doing and trying to combat the wildfire and everything that had started by a lightning strike.
Oh, wow.
So yes, ma'am. So be careful where you step.
I definitely will. I don't want to step on a landmine.
But we still have people that, looters that do come out here and actively dig all the time. looking for souvenirs and everything. And this entire area is an archaeological site. So it's a $5,000 fine per item that you're caught with, an artifact.
Wow.
And up to 10 years in federal prison, and everything's considered looting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, you know, that's
Definitely.
part of our, when we do the reenactments out here, we don't even allow them to dig fire pits. They have to have ground fires. And, you know, we have a lot of the Boy Scouts and stuff that come in and help us as volunteers with, clean up and all that, and we let them know the same thing. It's like, we know it goes against y'all's code, but you can't dig into the ground because, you know, and if you find anything or whatever, just turn it into the closest danger, so
definitely.
we get it cataloged and stuff.
Okay, definitely, yeah. Now, how many people do you think died out here? Do you have a number?
Let's see. I think on the Union side, I think the casualties are close to a little over 1,200 were killed, and I think times 2 of that and like wounded. And then on the Confederate side, it was relatively low for the amount of troops they had. I think they lost maybe 150 outright killed, and then maybe 2 times that in wounded. We actually have books here that if families come up and say, hey, you know, my great-grandfather fought here and stuff like that, either Union or Confederate, we can actually go in the book, find it, and if they were wounded here, we can tell them where they were shot at, what happened to them afterwards, if they died later in the hospital from infection or something like that, if it was an amputation, had to be done in the field, anything like that, you know, in any of those records, so they can start their archival search if they need to. And there's been a lot of people that have come out here and it's like, I don't think I had anybody fighting here, and we've actually found their names in the rolls.
Wow.
For them, and you know, it's like, oh wow, okay, they didn't even know they had actually fought here. They just knew that they'd been in the Civil War, but they didn't know they actually came here.
Yeah.
So
and as far as paranormal experiences, you've had some paranormal experiences here.
Yeah.
Would you like to share a couple of them with us?
Yeah. I came out, the first time I came out here, I came in first person. I was in a federal uniform, and we were here with some a ghost hunter group out of St. Augustine, and we were actually on this side of the field over here, and one of the gentlemen that was with me, I had my sidearm on, and he goes, can you shoot that? And I was like, yeah, and I discharged it, and we actually drug up a set of sentries, Confederate sentries, and we watched them work their way up the field over here to where we were at. The temperature dropped by like 15 degrees. And it went from being right around in the 70s, and it bottomed down at like into the 60s like that.
Wow.
And Olustee's weird. The temperature is always a 10-degree difference out here no matter what. And I think it's because of all the paranormal activity, but this is my speculation. But yeah, I was coming back up off the field, and I actually was chased from one end of the field all the way back up here to the road again. And,
oh, wow.
I could hear somebody breathing real heavy behind me, and the sagebrush was kind of up a little bit higher, and I could hear them coming through the sagebrush. And I didn't turn around and look behind me because I was always told if you turn around and look, you're going to get caught. Yeah. So I just kept going and everything. But yeah, it pretty much scared the crap out of me being out here.
Oh, I can imagine. You know. Wow.
But we've had several other groups come around. We've caught voices over by the horse corral and stuff like that. And like I said, we'll go over that direction in a little bit. And then, but that group had an EMP meter sitting up out on that set of bleachers right there. And I can remember that night watching that thing going from like a little red light to just turning green like a pulse. Yeah. And it just stayed all the way across the field, and I was like, okay, there's something out here other than me. And I wasn't gonna find out. I'm not a very scareful person, but you know, there's just certain things I don't mess with, and you know, I didn't want anything causing me to come harm myself. Yeah, away from it out here I hear you. But yes, ma'am. So I mean, there's plenty of stuff out here, and like I said, this would have been one of the harder hit areas. Because of the fact that this was a fallow farm field, and it was open, and it lent to their tactics of their time. And
what's way back there down that road, that dirt road over there?
This dirt road here will run all the way out, and it actually turns around and it comes back out on 250 over here.
Oh, okay.
But it's one of the forestry roads that cuts through, and it actually cuts in the back half of the battlefield and cuts across.
Okay.
So the battlefield itself, the original battlefield, keeps going that way for about another half mile.
Okay.
Or so. It's sort of an oblong racetrack.
Gotcha.
So the very extreme left flank, I guess, as you would put it, depending on which side you were standing on. On the Confederate side, that would have been their extreme left wing. And then up here towards the front would have been their extreme right, and vice versa.
What?
Sounded like somebody running.
Oh, I was listening to him. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Because it sounded like somebody running over here. You know.
Oh, I just heard a man's voice. Do you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hello.
All right, let's get some stuff hooked
Yep.
up because I want to try to get over by the corral too.
I just heard a man. You heard it too? Did he? I think he said he heard it.
You heard the man's voice?
Yeah. Back over here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's nobody else out here?
No, ma'am. Both gates
Yeah,
are
I just
secure.
thought I heard
This
it
area,
sounded
there's
like,
nobody out here but
footsteps.
us.
Yeah. All right, let me get my stuff.
Messengers going up and down the line in the rear. And then the initial skirmishers were Confederate cavalry that ran into the Union cavalry.
I'm going to go this way so I don't get covered into it.
So this is where the homestead was. He's taken us to show us where the homestead used to be.
Oh, the body?
No, the homestead.
Oh. For
Huh.
okay, it says light. I mean, it's daylight. Remark. So there used to be a house here.
Yes,
Okay.
this was the farmer's homestead.
Okay.
Okay.
So I got remark and light.
Remark and light.
So his home would have been here. The servant homes would have been on the opposite side of the battlefield, and that's what was taken over as a hospital area.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So that hospital was used for injured soldiers? Okay, I got you.
Now we're still trying to figure out if it was the
The USC. Space. Or if it was...
There's sworn I just heard something.
Who's space?
No, this would have been the Confederate side.
no, the hospital.
Oh, the hospital over there?
And so
Those?
what Chris was saying was they weren't sure if it was the USCT
Yep.
wounded for the hospital or if it was
I got face
Yeah.
other.
and arm.
Face and arm. Okay. Maybe saying face and an arm was damaged.
Well, we could be standing on top of an arm.
Yeah, he said there's people buried all around out here. They've actually come across a couple bodies while doing things out here.
Yeah, the homestead would have been right around this
Right in
area.
here. Okay.
And it was a farmer that had cleared and de-stumped that field right there. Of course, with it being February, it would have been fallow, so there was no crops or anything in it.
Right.
It was just a good open field.
Yeah.
But
the farmer wasn't expecting there to be a battle held here.
nobody was. They knew there had been an expedition in by the Union cavalry into Lake City,
Mm-hmm.
and so they had indications that they were getting close.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville, Fort Clinch, that whole area around there, around Fernandina Beach and all that, was Union-held territory.
Okay.
Jacksonville itself.
Right.
So they knew there were Union troops there, and they had ventured out, you know, as far up as Barber's Plantation,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually had a camp there. And several days before, the Confederate cavalry had overrun the camp and run them off,
Oh, wow.
and captured a lot of their horses and their gear and stuff like that. And they caught them by such a surprise that cook fires were still going with food cooking.
Oh,
And
wow.
everything. So the Confederate troops actually stayed there, ate all the food, took all the stuff that they could get, and destroyed the rest of it and came back.
Oh, wow.
And so, like I said, they had built the breastworks, which we just recently uncovered like 3 or 4 years ago, a mile up the road waiting for them there. And it was a perfect kill sack for them, because they had 6 pieces of artillery, 3 on each side here, and then infantry behind breastworks there, so they would have been walking in the open straight down.
Oh,
No
wow.
place to hide. It would have just been a slaughter for them.
Gosh.
The commander that actually marched his troops Seymour from Jacksonville to here went against orders. He was not supposed to make an advance. What they were trying to do was get from Jacksonville to a little town called Columbus, where Swanee State Park is now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a set of Confederate earthworks out there.
Okay.
The railroad trestle that runs across the bridge
Mm-hmm.
is the original tracks from the Civil War. And it was the only trestle going across the Swanee River, and they were trying to gain that trestle to burn it.
Okay.
And if they could cut off Florida's beef supply to the south. Because in 1860, 1861, when the war started, all the way up until like 1863, Florida was considered a swamp. And it was no value to either side.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Confederate troops were like, ain't nothing down there but a bunch of Indians. So
Mm-hmm.
all the troops that were raised for the Confederacy here, even though Florida was the 3rd state to succeed and everything, all the troops that were raised here were sent to the Army of Tennessee. And they fought up in like Chickamauga and places like that and everything. No Florida troops actually fought that were raised here. Units actually fought in Florida. They fought in Georgia, Alabama, and up through that area.
Okay.
Shenandoah. And so when it was Home Guard and stuff that were here, and the Confederate commander that was here requested help from General Beauregard up in South Carolina, and they loaded troops up and sent them down on the trains down here, and that's how they were able to get here as fast as they did. The
Okay.
Georgia and Alabama troops.
Okay.
And deployed.
Yeah.
We've only got about 20 minutes of daylight left. Let's go over by the corral so we can at least see that during the day.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that and then come back
We
here.
can come back over here
Oh,
and,
yeah.
you know,
It ain't going nowhere.
Okay.
have our stuff out, you know, for dark. But I'd like to at least
Over
see
there
over
is
there.
where we caught a lot
Yeah.
of voices and
Yeah.
things.
Okay,
talking
let's
to.
do that. Okay, so where we're going right now, Cece's driving. Tell me what you just said.
So where we're going now is to the corrals. And people that has been here has said the one guy claims he got punched in the face by a spirit here. Another guy wanted them to do an actual incident report because he was verbally assaulted by a spirit and they didn't do it. And there's some bodies that were found out here
Yeah.
that was recovered.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because back in the day, you know, during the wars and all these times, you know, you just kind of get buried where you drop
Yeah, that's just the way it was.
during the wars. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's probably tons out here that they haven't found. by
Probably. So
Um,
sad, but yeah, you're
But
probably right.
so many of the people that with the reenacting always have experiences out here. So that's why I wanted to get over here to the corral while it was still daylight.
Yeah, and then we're gonna go back to the battlefield and do some paranormal investigating. But for now, we want to see this while it's daytime.
Yeah. He said that we're definitely going to get EVPs and stuff over here.
Okay.
I feel like I wish it was mud. That would be fun.
I'm all over the place with this camera. We're bouncing now.
It's
You're
a bouncy
fine.
place out here.
So what is this right here?
Oh, that's an old cattle.
Okay.
From like the 30s. They used
Oh,
to
wow.
cracker cattle through here.
Okay. This is where they had old cattle back in here. It's an old cattle area. What are you seeing?
Oh, sorry. Because we smelled the musk of the cat, I was looking at this scat with pieces of bone in it, wondering if that's... I don't think it's cat, though.
Oh.
It could be, but I don't think it is.
And they were trying to account for all the dead and missing, and they collected up enough sets of bones to account for 300. And they dug a mass grave. They buried them over there where the marker's at. We know that's within 25 foot
Right.
of where that grave is, because
See
the
that
marker,
mound of grass right there?
Yeah.
Right
that's
there.
where those 3 that we
So
covered
one
back
thing that we
up.
do ask is
Oh, wow.
I already told them not to mark it.
that, not to market. 'Cause
No, we're not.
Oh, no, we're not even.
Yeah.
No.
But that's-
I'm not even going to go past here because.
No.
there's
So there's a
snakes.
couple bodies buried right over there.
Here, this is
Oh.
part of the old Olustee Road.
God bless you. Rest in peace.
It runs, it goes down to the middle of the battlefield and goes back up through the woods. Through that way, and it's coming down this way. So
And this will lead all the way to those earthworks over
Yeah.
at the Ocean Pond Campground I was telling you
and
about.
it'll come back out and drop up close to 90 and parallels it all the way to Madison, because the big mansion that's over there in the middle of Madison, that's where all the wounded from Olustee went to the Confederate side.
Okay.
Mhm.
And they're actually on the back side of the graveyard over there. There's about 25 Confederate graves that they were able to identify as troops
Wow.
buried there that died at that place.
Have you
So
guys
you're talking
done
about a place being
Sandersonville?
haunted? It's nuts.
There's a frickin' spider right there. Stay right there.
So this would have been your right wing of the Confederate line. Would have been right through here.
Okay.
And everything. This would have been probably the Alabama and Georgia troops that were banging away with the Union troops over on that side, and
Mhm.
Langston's battery of guns and stuff. They actually captured 3 of the guns. But this would have been a hot fought area, because this is where the 54th would have started, about right there where that building is, up in that area, in the 8th USCT, and that's where they fought the rear guard vanguard action for the Union troops. As they evacuated the field with all the white troops and wounded and everything, they took on the remaining Confederate troops there by themselves.
So that the others could get out safely.
Right. Right.
2 regiments against 10. That
Hmm.
Okay.
800 against 200.
And we still
Right.
won though.
And what was this
Yeah.
fight all about? What was it about?
They were trying to get to the town of Columbus, which is over Swanee River State Park.
Mm-hmm.
There's a railroad bridge that went across,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the only intact railroad bridge that went across the Swanee River and into Valdosta to supply beef. Florida, by 63, late 63 to 64, they realized, that was my fault, that Florida was the largest beef producer for the Confederacy.
Okay.
They actually had.
I just heard something. Hold on. Did you hear that?
What'd you hear?
Like a thump. Ooh. I hear a knocking sound over here. Hello, is there any spirits here? I hear a knocking. Like a knocking sound.
We do have a lot of woodpeckers. This is a woodpecker area.
Okay, it could be woodpeckers then.
Affiliated in. Nope, I heard that. That wasn't a woodpecker. That was a thump.
Mm-hmm.
Like a tree hitting the ground. That's whippoorwill. Right there. Calling. But that big thump.
Yeah, that's what caught my attention. I heard a big thump. I mean, they could be trying to get our attention.
Captured from here and from
Um,
other battles.
we'll drive up here and we'll walk across and I'll show you where the mass grave for the Union was.
Okay.
One of the saddest parts, and that's what we were talking about, was after the battle was over, the Union troops were not given proper burial. It was leaves and pine straw thrown over the bodies, and that's where they left alive.
Oh gosh.
You know, once
Yeah.
their boots and their rifles and stuff were stripped from the bodies and any other stuff that they could find of any value or whatever, the bodies themselves were left there where they lied. And the wildlife got to them, hogs, foxes,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and everything like that.
Oh, I have a bug in my
And
hair.
They desecrated the bodies severely.
God, that's awful.
In 1873, the Army Grave and Registration Unit made it down here.
Mm-hmm.
And they accounted for 300 sets of remains. And they dug a mass grave. They put them in the grave. And they had a priest bless them and everything like that. And it covered them.
Mm-hmm.
300 souls that nobody knows who they were.
Oh my God, that's
And,
horrible.
you know,
So sad.
the tensions, even 10 years after and everything like that, was so bad down here that the local people destroyed the marker, the original wooden cross. And
Oh my
everything.
God.
And the Army kept coming back and rebuilding it. Some churches redone it, and it was a losing battle. And over time, that disappeared. Well, there's no written records. You know, we can find that, but there was no GPS back then.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they found an approximate area where they think the grave is at.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's still an active cemetery
Mm-hmm.
and everything, they placed a marker.
Okay.
And we think it's close. We're not sure. But that's one of the large mass graves is out here across the road in the woods. Is
Okay.
another mass grave for Confederate soldiers
Okay.
that died out here. So
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn the spirit box on right over here in the area where they found 3 bodies. Was it 3?
yes, ma'am.
3 bodies right in front of the camera in that particular area, and there's probably a lot more out here that they didn't uncover. But we're gonna try to make communication with these poor souls, and maybe they can tell us their names, their ages and stuff like that. So I know you hear me, and please come through and tell us your names and your ages and where you're from or whatever you want to tell us. Okay, we're gonna listen back to this. Hello. What was your names? We can hear you through this. Would you like to talk to us? Oh, thank you. I don't know exactly what you said yet, but I will listen back and I'll know. Tell us your names and how old you are. How old you were. Yeah. Yeah, let us know who you are so we can try to locate your family. Come talk to this box right here in my hand. How many of you are there out here? There you go. You're doing it. You're talking through this box. Were you Confederate? I do too. That's why I keep looking around. I feel like we're not alone. Well, thank you so much. I can't wait to hear what you said back. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Thank you so much.
Well, if they found 3, it's just right there. There's probably 20 there.
Yeah.
That's probably just the ones that were on
Yeah,
the top there.
that's what I'm thinking.
But
So you said right in this area, it could
Within
be where
300 feet of this monument
is where the mass
is a
graves,
is a mass grave.
the mass grave.
for
Okay.
the Union troops that were killed here. We know there's over 300 bodies interred in it.
And we could be standing on it for
Yeah.
all we know.
Oh my gosh. So they don't know exactly where it is. There are newer graves here. Look at this, there's several. These are all recent. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we'll have a pit. The flowers are not golden.
Right. So I mean, they still do. You know, there's one over there.
Yeah, these are very
September
recent,
22,
21.
21.
We do know the depth of the grave itself when the Army interred it and everything like that was anywhere from 15 to 25 foot deep.
Okay.
So,
Well,
All right.
and the University of Florida, I believe it was the University of Florida, came up with one of those ground
The
penetrating LiDAR. So
Right.
they've found within 300 feet
Yeah.
markers of it, as well as over at the monument field.
we
Okay.
found the void and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And we know that there's another one across the road in the woods over there somewhere, is the Confederate mass grave that
Ooh,
at least
shit.
150 are interred in it. That
Wow.
are Confederate troops, so.
Which we were trying to get the property across the street, but that's been difficult.
Okay.
You know, so that we can include it with the
Yeah.
battlefield.
Yeah. Wow. So sad. Our history is just sad, you know? So much sad history.
Yeah.
What does that say? May the living profit by the example of the dead. That's what that says right there.
There's a colonel and a captain in there, under there.
Oh, wow.
And a sergeant,
So,
Spartan Brigade.
these were the brigades that would have been here fighting, and everything marked in one of them. So, you got battery I, 3rd U.S. Artillery, battery N.
That's so respectful doing that. I do that when I
Well,
go to
mean,
graves
when
too.
the wind blows through here really strong.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it scatters things
Everywhere, yeah. Okay, I've got the camera facing out that way. There is a REM pod over there, if you can see the red light, but
And over there.
okay. We're looking to communicate with the spirits out here.
Horses running.
Yep,
You were here earlier.
there's a lot of bugs out here. Holy shit. Oh, they're all over my camera. I gotta turn these lights out. Look at this. Yeah. That's why I told you, as soon as it gets dark. Yep. I have to keep the lights out, guys, so we'll just use the flashlight because they're all around the entire camera now. So they actually hear horses and all kinds of things out here. Footsteps, disembodied voices, and everything. So we're hoping to pick up something like that tonight. We communicate with spirits. We come in peace. We don't mean no harm or no disrespect whatsoever. We believe in God. And we also believe in spirits and that you can communicate with us. We know there's a lot of earthbound spirits still on this earth as well. So if you'd like to come and talk to us, we have some meters out there with red lights on them. If you get close to them, they will light up all colors like a Christmas tree. Could you do that for us, please? Let us know that you're here and that you want to talk to us. Hello? Ooh, did you hear that? Is that a bird?
Sounds like a bird.
We know a lot of people lost their lives out here on this field. We have a light over there on that fence post, and it just lights up that little area there. If you could possibly move in front of that light too, that would be great, because we can see you. What'd you hear?
No, he's fishing about my girlfriend.
Oh, I heard something like.
Oh, damn it.
I heard
That was
something
right by my
coming
head.
to our left,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounded like they went. Psst.
Oh. Screech owl, okay.
Oh.
Now we do have some
Okay.
things burning here to help get rid of the bugs, but so if you see smoke go by, that's what that is. It's so dark out here. And I can't turn my camera lights on because the bugs will just surround the camera, and that's all you're going to see is bugs. Yeah.
November. I heard it again. It must be that owl.
It might be,
We're gonna
yeah.
start talking to each other soon.
November would be a good time because it's just starting to get cold and it
Mhm.
wouldn't be too cold yet.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of bugs out here, that's for sure. I'm gonna walk over closer to the fence line for a minute. God, it's hard to see anything, it's so dark. You literally just can't see anything. And this is a pretty good flashlight. It's darker than Satan's ass out there. Well, so far none of the meters are going off. Look at all the bugs that are around this flashlight right here. They're everywhere. I'm gonna move down a little bit. blurry. Oh my God, this is just awful. Even with the flashlight on, I just, they're all over me.
Yep.
So,
Oh, and I was like, they're like, where's the ball? Like, what? Came out here and they had this like 7-year-old girl. She's like, there's no
see the bugs, guys?
over the palmetto bushes.
We might have to definitely resume this
That's flashing.
for another night when it's colder out.
My
We'll
REM pod
stay as
lighting
long
up,
as we
but it's
can.
not making noise. Well, it was.
Yeah.
Can any of you go over there close to those devices with the red light on them? Light them up? We would appreciate it. Just got real blurry. Oh, God. They're just buzzing all around my damn head. Yeah, take some pictures. Definitely.
Golly, they're just bouncing off my head.
I know, they're horrible. They're absolutely. Okay, we've been sitting here for a few minutes. I turned the camera off because nothing's really happening, but I'm going to go ahead and turn the spirit box on for just a little bit. Oops, look at the bugs again. As soon as I turn that red light on, the bugs start coming. Oh.
What about the green one?
Huh?
What about the green light? Are they?
I think it's going to be any light.
Yeah, I think it's more like the heat.
Yeah. Okay, so come talk to us. Hello? Is anyone out here with us? Hello, I heard a hello. Hi, what's your name? Hello. My name is Patty. What's your name? Sorry about what you had to go through. It is now 2023, 2023, that's the year now. It was a long time ago.
How old were you when you were here?
27. I think I heard 27. Do you still have family in the area? Are you still buried out here on this property? Yep. Can you tell me how many people are buried out here? Did your family ever know what happened to you or where your body was? I see your meter beeping over there. We hear that there's a spirit out here that likes to push people and touch people and scare people. Yeah, don't touch us. You're not allowed to touch us. Are you happy over there on the other side? You okay? Wow. Can't wait to hear what you said. It's all being recorded. Hi, we're experiencing a lot of bugs. We're going to turn this off for a little bit because I got a feeling I might have to run. Some big bug just flew over in this area. I mean, it's some kind of bug, insect, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh my God. It was huge. Whatever it was pretty damn big.
Yeah, that's that thing that was headed right.
Oh! Oh my God!
She's gonna make me.
Oh my God, what the fuck is that? What is that right there?
Where?
This?
Oh, you're picking it up? What is it? Oh, hell. What is that?
That's a camera strap.
Oh
Did
my
it come off your
God.
flashlight?
No, I don't think it's my camera strap. Somebody must have lost it. Did you lose anything?
I haven't.
How did that get by my foot when I didn't see it a minute ago? I'm telling you, I did not see that when I pulled my chair and was sitting here. That was not right there.
You sure it ain't yours?
I mean, it could
It
be,
looks
but
fairly new.
let me see again. It might be.
Oh, that ain't yours.
I don't think so.
You don't have anything green, do you?
No.
What color's that flashlight?
But I'm telling you right now, how the hell did that get in front of me? I was just looking at the ground. I didn't see it, and all of a sudden I seen it. It's like
beekeepers, paranormal beekeepers.
yeah. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get going. The bugs are just absolutely horrible. We've been sitting here with the camera off for quite a while just to keep the lights down and stuff, just waiting to see if we would hear or see anything at all, and we don't right now. I mean, I don't know if I caught anything on camera that I'm not aware of yet or not until I watch this back, but the bugs are just absolutely horrible. But they did say that they are going to come back out here with us when it's cold out, where the bugs are not out.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we're going to do. So thank you for watching. Peace.